FORA.tv. The world is thinking.
So why then oppose the legalization of assisted suicide? I think there are two specific worries that I would want to point out about assisted suicide. It's not about the individual cases. I would absolutely stress that. It's not about individual cases at all. It's about the message that legalizing assisted suicide would give. So if we take the proverbial man teetering on the bridge, contemplating suicide, right now our message to that man, which I think everybody has, is to try and stop that man. And I think that's an important aspect of humanity. And what is being proposed here is to take a neutral stance. And I think that can be a very dangerous thing. I think in the name of autonomy, society will take a neutral stance towards suicide. And I think that is a fairly dangerous thing. So that's the first problem that I have. The second is with the regulation aspect that has been talked about. I think if we implement legalization of assisted suicide, it will result in increasing regulation in a sphere where government intervention is neither welcome nor appropriate. And this is part of a progressive regulation of human life and to be resisted in the name of autonomy. I think there's a few other points. Assisted dying, which is a term, I'm glad that this terminology has been discussed because I think it is a suicide in the end. I think we have to be very, very clear about what we're talking about. You can talk about assisted dying, but realistically, it is assisted suicide. It relies in the end on the individual's judgment of the worth of their own life and on the individual actually accomplishing that act. So I don't think it's anything else. I think one of the problems with assisted suicide, I don't like the slippery slope argument either. I think it's not a very apt phrase. It doesn't really describe very much, and I agree with Ray Tallis's problems with the slippery slope. But I think the foot in the door metaphor is actually quite good. This is a foot in the door for suicide. And I think if you start defining, if you start saying unbearable suffering, this phrase that's used in the proposed legislation, this opens the door to anybody who sees their own case as having unbearable suffering, because how can we really justify saying that one person's unbearable suffering is not worth another person's unbearable suffering? So I think there's an expansive nature to this whole idea of unbearable suffering that's inherent in the legislation and is problematic.